All right, hey, Shalom Makyam. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. We are the Hebrew Israelites, which consist of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. And according to the Holy Scriptures, we're God's chosen people. Shalom to all the brothers out there, push his knowledge in sincerity and truth. Shalom to the few sisters. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who are scattered abroad. What you're looking at is a true depiction of the one ignorantly called Jesus Christ, whose real name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. And the Heavenly Father name is Yahweh, the one ignorantly called God or Jehovah. And they are so-called black men according to the scriptures. All right, coming back at you another quick lesson, man. This lesson is going to be dealing with the Purim, one of our holy days in Israel, who the real Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians, when we were in captivity under the Medo-Persian Empire during the BC time frame. All right, which the Persians became the superpower, dealing with the greatness of that kingdom, who are the East Indians. Today, you're dealing with the people of Iran, people of Afghanistan, and the people of India, the Elamites. Okay, and then the Medes, which was the first part of that establishment of that kingdom, today will be considered the people of Samoan, the sons of Japhet, the people of Samoan, Hawaiian, Tongan, Aboriginal descent. Okay, so during this captivity that we were under, the Heavenly Father has showed us favor in the sight of the Persians and the Medes. And in this captivity, we had a great enemy, an Edomite, Haman, the Haggagite, the Macedonian, right, an Amalekite who wanted to destroy our nation. Just like today, the Edomites wants to destroy our nation. You understand? So the Heavenly Father used Mordecai and his cousin Esther, whose real name is, I'm going to bring it out, Hadassah. I think the brother already brought that out, but repetition. And the three main tribes that was around during this time was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Yes, you have some north in there, sprinkle in there, but the bulk of this history right here is dealing with the Jews, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Okay, so without further ado, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson unto the very elect, man. Okay, so we're gonna start off Esther chapter 2, verse 1 on down. It says, after these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. So pretty much this woman Vashti rebelled against the king. And this guy Ahasuerus was Xerxes that you see in 300. Okay, so the spirit hopped on this guy to pretty much humble this woman, man, and she lost her rank within that empire. Okay, and he sought for other women to replace her. Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, let there be a fair young virgins sought for the king. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shuzan the palace. So the area of Shuzan today would be between Iraq and Iran today. That area. Okay, when you look it up, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegi, the king's chamberlain, keeping of the women, and let their things be for purification be given them. Let the maiden which pleased the king be queen instead of Vashti. So she lost her position. All right. So that goes to show you, even back then, on the different monarchs, man, that they ain't play around with women bucking up against their men. So she got shut down real quick when you read the first chapter. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. So in Shuzan, which is in the Middle East today between Iraq and Iran, the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. So when you go into the word Jew, you're not dealing with the people over there in the land today. They are the false converts. They're false, man. They stole the real Jews' nationality and our heritage of being the Israelites. The real Jews, starting off with the tribe of Judah, was once called the Southern Kingdom, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. These were the three main tribes, okay, during this captivity. The Medo-Persian Empire, Persian and Medes Empire. Okay, and a Benjamite today will be called a so-called West Indian. Okay, the people of Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Bahamas, Antigua, St. Croix, St. Kitts, Guyana. All right, that whole reggae culture, dancehall culture, those crazy people, man. That's the tribe I'm from. Okay, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jocanian, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. So before this captivity, the Babylonians were ruling. When you go into the statue, okay, so you had the Babylonians and the Persian and Medes, but before the Babylonians was the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians were the ones that took down the northern kingdom, which consists of so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians descent today. All right, and they were taken out of their land because they were in Jerusalem, and they were placed in the Middle East as well. Not the different part of the Middle East, which we will call like Iraq, and then from there they left that province and they came all the way over here to North, Central, and South America to keep the Lord's statutes and commandments. So they've been here since around 724, 726 BC. Don't quote me on it, but the Northern Kingdom been here for a very long time. When you get into the Bible, this is a whole nother topic. Might be veering off. You'll find out your true, your true heritage, your true history, because the history you learn in school is bull crap. Okay. So going back, and he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, all right, because her real name is Hadassah. That's her real birth name. And her name got changed to Esther, means star, his uncle's daughter. So she was a Benjamite as well. For she had neither father nor mother. So I was trying to look to see what happened to her father and mother, but take an educated guess, they probably got killed during the Babylonian conquest, And the maid was fair and beautiful. So this young woman, she was a young woman, all right, was fair and beautiful, because in ancient customs, you got the women young. They weren't these little stupid ass chicks. We had a whole different mentality, a whole different culture, man. Who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. Okay? So it came to pass when the king's commandment, his decree was heard, and many maidens were gathered unto Shuzan, the palace, to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house to the custody of Hegai, the keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and he obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, which things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house, and he preferred her and her maidens unto the best place of the house of women. So that's how it's going to be in the kingdom as well. A woman will be purified in the finest things, man. The finest perfumes, the finest oils, So Esther had shown her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. So who is her people? The Israelites. the Jews. She was a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin, the so-called West Indian. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. Now when every maid's turn was come to go into the king Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes, after that she had been 12 months according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of our purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil and myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, with other things for the purifying of the women. So that was a hell of a culture. All that came from Israel, man. Okay. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. And in the evening she went, and on the morning she returned into the second house of the women to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, that she were called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women appointed, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all of them that look upon her. So Esther was taken unto the king Ahasuerus into the house royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women. She obtained grace and favor in the sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. So I got a little picture here, okay. Just don't get mad at me, but I was trying to, give you a good depiction here. This is what she would look like. She was a so-called black woman today. Don't know if she was dark or brown skin, but it's the best I can find. Okay? Straight up. So around that time frame, the three main tribes dwelling in that land was Judah, Benjamin, Levi, man. Okay? The Israelite woman is the most beautiful woman on the planet. We're going to get them back in their right minds in the kingdom, man. Plain and simple. So what else? Let's get to the point. So that's the point. Yeah, so she gained she was in a position of power in the time of the Persian and Medes. Okay? So I'm gonna go to the next chapter, because the plot thickens, man. This is our history right here. All right, and after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman. So this guy Haman got promoted, the son of Hammedatha the Haggite, and advanced him and set his seal above all the princes that were with him. This guy is an Edomite. He's a Macedonian, and it is not by coincidence the Greeks are the ones that took down this province. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bow and reverence Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence. And that's the whole hatred, man, that we have between Esau and Jacob, man. The Lord set this thing up. The Most High set this thing up lovely. You understand what I'm saying? All right. And the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. Okay. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. Why you want to bow to you Edomites, man? And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And in the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Pur, that is the lot, that's where Purim come from, before Haman from day to day and from month to month. And the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all the people. We were keeping our law, statutes, and commandments and serving the Most High in this land, man. Not to keep thy king's laws, so we were given permission not to keep their laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. So there goes the serpent getting in Xerxes' ears to destroy us, man. Because we don't want to and we gonna do the same thing, man, in this uprising that's going on. We're not reverencing your kingdom, man. The Lord got us here for a time being, and soon things about to be magnified, man. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasure. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Haggagite, the Jews' enemy. All right, enemy. Esau is our enemy, man. Let's see what it says right here. So we'll see what's for Haman. It doesn't really see what's saying noble, Persian, celebrated, blah blah blah. Doesn't say, it doesn't really give a history on his name. Let's see what it says. Haman the Haggagite. The son of Hammedatha, double father of Haman. I read it somewhere where it said he was a Macedonian. Might be mistaken. See what it says for Haggagite. I read it somewhere, brothers, where it says that from the Macedonian lineage, and that links up with Alexander. Haggagite, how we'll overtop. I can't really find it right now. I read it somewhere, man, earlier. All right, but anyway, moving on. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then when the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenant, unto the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to take spoil of them for a prey. So this damn Edomite want to destroy us, man. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given. And this ain't nothing new underneath the sun, man. This Haman, he's probably one of the Rothschilds or something, man. One of the Rockefellers in that, in that family line. To be given in every province was published unto all people that they should be ready against that day. The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and decree was given in Shushan palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city in Shushan was perplexed. right? So when this decree went out, Esther found out, and her cousin found out, and this is what they did. They cried unto the Most High, man. But first, point I want to bring out, Mordecai found out a plot that was set against Ahasuerus by these two eunuchs, and it was told unto the Most High started to stir things up. Saying how Haman got advanced into his rulership, so did Mordecai, man. The Heavenly Father said good is set against evil, evil set against good. This is out of the Apocrypha, Esther, the book of Esther, the 12th chapter. And Mordecai took his rest in the court in Gabbatha and Thorah. The two eunuchs of the king and the keeper of the palace, he heard their devices and searched out their purposes, and learned that they were about to lay hands on Artaxerxes. This is Xerxes, the king. So he certified the king of them. Then the king examined the two eunuchs, and after that they had confessed it, and they were strangled. The king made a record of these things, and Mordecai also wrote thereof. So the king commanded Mordecai to serve in the court. For this he rewarded him. Howbeit Haman the son of Hammedas, the Hagagite, who was in great honor with the king, sought to molest Mordecai and his people because of the two eunuchs of the king. So these are the two things this damn devil wanted to destroy us for. You understand? So the Heavenly Father intervened, man. But the Heavenly Father loves drama, man. Y'all realize, man, the Heavenly Father loves drama. I gotta go to the 13th book. Bring this out real quick. This is some good history. So going back to what I read in the King James about the letters got sent out to destroy us. And this is how the brother Mordecai, our ancestor, reacted. It says the copy of the letters was this: the great King Artaxerxes written these things to the princes and the governors that under him from India unto Ethiopia, 120 provinces. After that, I became Lord over many nations, had dominion over the whole world, not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects, continue in the quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceably, and open for passage to the utmost coast to renew peace, which is desire of all men. Salakia. Now when I asked my counsel how this might be brought to pass, Haman, that excelled in wisdom amongst us and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfastness, fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom. He was under the king. This damn demon, man. I don't want to do that. How the hell I get out of here with that? Shit. All right. Right. It says, declare unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people, slanders, man, that had laws contrary to all nations and continually despised the commandments of the king, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward, seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, deferring in a strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by Amen, who is ordained over the affairs that is next unto us, shall all, with their wives and children, be utterly destroyed by the sword of the enemies, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month of Adar. All right, so the point is, this, this information got to Mordecai. This is how Mordecai reacted, man. Then Mordecai thought upon all the works of the Lord and made his prayer unto him, saying, O Yahweh, O Yahweh, the King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power, and if thou has appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee. So immediately, our ancestors, once they're in trouble, they call upon our power, man. Now we have that access to do this all over again, brothers. All right? For thou hast made heaven and earth and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art Lord of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art thou, Yahweh. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest Yahweh. There is neither that it was neither in contempt nor pride for any desire of glory that I do not bow to a proud Haman. But I'm not gonna bow to this Edomite, man. We be enemies forever. For I could have been content with goodwill for the salvation of Israel to kiss the soles of his feet. Pretty much you say, I could have, bowed down and kissed the sole of his feet, but hell no. But did this, that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of my power. Neither will I worship any but thee, O Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Neither will I do it in pride. And now, O Yahweh, power and King, spare thy people, for their eyes are upon us to bring us to naught. Yea, they desire to destroy the inheritance that had been thine from the beginning. You understand? That's what they plan on doing again today. Want to destroy our nation, man. The Heavenly Father is going to allow only a certain number to be destroyed and reserve the small remnant this time. We're going to put a foot in your ass once and forever through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Despise not the portion which thou hast delivered out of Egypt for thyself, for thy own self. Hear my prayer and be merciful unto thy inheritance. Turn our sorrow into joy that we may live, O Yahweh, and praise thy name, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and destroy not the mouths of them that praise thee, O Yahweh. All Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto Yahweh, because their death was before their eyes, man. All right, so this is a very, very serious ordeal. This man Haman wanted to wipe out the three main tribes, man. You see, men, women, children. You understand? That's why this is a holy day in Israel, man. But moving on, I'm you know what I'm saying? I don't want to. It's a lot of reading, so I'm just get to the point here. Where was I? With additional chapters. So this is what Esther did as well. It says, Queen Esther, also being in fear of death, resorted unto Yahweh, laid away her glorious apparel, and put on the garments of anguish and mourning instead of precious ointments. And she covered her head with ashes and dung. She humbled her body greatly in all the palaces for her joy. She filled with her torn hair. So she took off all that apparel. You understand? Pretty much, she had to play the role. The Most High had to play in the role for the sake of Israel, man. Her and our cousin Mordecai. For the sake of Israel, she just like today, man. We're like, fuck that, man. Brothers moving in the spirit. We could have been in the world and do whatever, man. But the Most High God is in this truth for our sake of our planet, our people, our heritage, man. And she prayed unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai of Israel, saying, O my Lord, thou only art King. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in my hand. From my youth up, I have heard in the tribe of my family. So the tribe she's from is from Benjamin. Who the West Indians today, O Yahweh, took us Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their predecessors, for a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou promised them. Now we have sinned before thee, therefore thou hast given us into hands of our enemies. So she knew the history. Because we worship their gods, O Yahweh, thou art righteous. Nevertheless, it satisfied them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols, that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth has ordained, and destroy thy inheritance, and to stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house in thy altar, upon the mouths of the heathens, to set forth the praise of idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever. All right? O Yahweh, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn the device upon themselves, and make him an example that had begun this against us. Man, that's a powerful prayer, man. So we got Esau coming against us. We got to pray against our enemies, man. All right, so let's get to that wicked device. You know, it's a lot of history, man. This wicked device, the plot, this demon Haman, which his woman came up with, man. And go straight to the point. Esther chapter 5, verse 14. Then says Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, let be gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet, and the thing pleased Haman, and caused the gallows to be made. But pretty much when Mordecai heard this information, he told Esther what to do. You know, understand? And she was scared to go, because to go into the king's court, you had to have been summoned. You had to be summoned unto the king, but she wasn't summoned. So Mordecai told her, man, this is, you know, I can't remember the exact words he told her, but yo, this is detrimental unto your people, man. If you don't do this, we all gonna be dead. You pretty much have some courage. You know, the Most High is with us. You know, and this is how it played out. Esther chapter 7, verse 1 to 10. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Queen Esther, with Esther the queen. And the king said unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? So she made a petition against this guy with him unknowingly. Queen Esther, and it shall be granted thee. What is thy request? And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in the sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. Remember, she never really revealed who our people are to the king, and the Heavenly Father set that up for a reason, man. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes, answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, the adversary. What's another word for adversary? Satan. The enemy is this wicked man Haman, these Edomites, man. And Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king arises from the banquet of wine, in his wrath went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make a request for his life to Esther, the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. And the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed wherein Esther was. Then said, King, will he force the queen also before me in the house? Like, please don't kill me. You know, as the word went out of the king's mouth, it says, as the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Harbonah, one of the chamberlain, said before the king, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who he had spoken good for the king, standing in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him there. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king wrath pacified. So you go into the word gallows, and it's crazy, man. Pretty much it's to hang us by a rope. Okay? But when I looked it up, It says carpenter, gallows, helve, pine stalk, staff, tree, wood. We're going to different translation, man. It tripped me out, brothers. Also means to impale. It says NLT, then Harbona, one of the king's eunuchs, said Haman has set up a sharpened pole that stands 75 feet tall in his own courtyard. He intended to use it to impale Mordecai, the man who saved the king from assassination. They impaled Haman on it, the king ordered. So, whew, you know. So, yeah, man. So, yeah, man. So after that, Esther was given, you know, more power to take out Haman and his whole freaking lineage, man. Now, in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, that in that day, the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, till it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had ruled over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, because Mordecai, he got, I'm going to read it, to lay hand on such as sought to hurt him, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people, man. So the Heavenly Father magnify us in his kingdom. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers of the king helped the Jews, because of the fear of Mordecai fell upon them through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with a stroke of the sword, and slaughtered the destruction, and did what they would unto the house that hated them. You know, and I believe that's the elites, man, coming back again today. And move on down. It says, then the sons of Haman, the sons of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil lay they not their hand. All right. Go to verse 12. And the king said unto Esther, the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace, and 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request? And this is where the feast came from. All right, and it shall be done. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are at Shushan to do tomorrow also according to this day's decrees. Let Haman 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. All right. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day of the month of Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they laid not their hand. All right. And it says, but the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from the enemies, and slew of their foes 7 and 5,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey. And on the 13th day of the month of Adar, and the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were in Shushan assembled themselves in the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day, 2 days thereof, and on the 15th day, same they rested, and made it a day of feast and gladness. So that's 3 days. Okay. So that's our history, man. You can read this for yourself. You know, Queen Esther was a so-called black woman from the tribe of Benjamin today. All right. And the real Jews, according to the Holy Scriptures, son of the tribe of Judah, who are the so-called Negroes, and the tribe of Benjamin, who are so-called West Indians, and the Haitians, who are from the tribe of Levi, Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Ashar, and Lord willing is edifying lesson unto the very elect. Shalom.